Thank you so much, Madam Chair, and welcome to the People's House, Postmaster General DeJoy. My residents and I don't have a tremendous amount of time, so I really would appreciate straightforward answers to the questions I have. As a lawyer, Mr. DeJoy, I believe that is incredibly important that all the citizens, especially public servants leading major federal agencies, are fully aware of and understand fully the law. Do you agree, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. Good. Then as an educational exercise and to ensure everyone here is clear on the law, I'd like to start by paraphrasing 18 U.S. Code Clause 1701, which says, whoever knowingly and willfully obstructs the passage of mail shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 6 months or both. I recommend that you and your lawyers familiarize yourself with this passage in particular, but as well as 18 U.S. Code Clauses 595 and 610. So, Mr. DeJoy, let's look at how you came to work for the impeached president. Before this role, you have never worked in the federal government as a public servant, correct?
That's correct.
So clearly you were not hired for your experience or deep understanding of the federal government. So let's see what experience you do have, your resume, so to speak. Before becoming the Postmaster General, you were for a time a Deputy National Fundraising Chairman for the GOP, and since 2016, you've donated approximately $1.2 million to this impeached president's campaign and groups that support him. On June 24th, 2020, you bought between $50,000 and $100,000 in what you refer to as, quote, covered calls in the Amazon Corporation. But let's be very clear, Mr. DeJoy, no matter what financial maneuvering you perform to try to hide it, the fact is that you have financial interest in Amazon. So, Mr. DeJoy, yes or no? Are you aware that Amazon uses the U.S. Postal Service for 40% of its shipping?
I disagree with the premise that I bought stock.
Do you know that they use 40% of its shipping?
I know that it does a lot of shipping with us, yes.
Okay, and I understand it. Your Amazon called covered calls expires in about October of this year. So you'll have to make a decision regarding this financial interest and may potentially have sensitive information about Amazon's business with the U.S. Postal Service, which may influence that decision. This appears to be a classic example of conflict of interest and insider trading. Yes or no, will you commit right now to divest any and all financial interest in Amazon to avoid illegal insider trading?
Ma'am, that was a lot of time on an issue that doesn't matter. I don't own any Amazon.
You have financial interest. You can call it whatever you want, Mr. DeJoy.
I don't own anything with Amazon. You can continue
Until you do that, your financial interest in Amazon will continue to be problematic and illegal and a conflict of interest. Regarding this matter, you have a simple choice, Mr. DeJoy. You can either resign or divest in that interest. It is very clear that you have vested interest in seeing the president remain in office, and your financial interest in Amazon demonstrates a clear conflict of interest that would be gravely concerning, even if you weren't in the process of dismantling the Postal Service, which you are. And I've heard from a number of carriers, a number of people in my Postal Service that completely conflict with what you're saying to us in this committee. Over the past few weeks, I've heard from folks that have said that not only are significant delays from changes you've made, but some of my residents have been critical medications, again, due to the delays based on your actions. I'd like to remind you that unlike in the private sector, Mr. DeJoy, where you served your own self-interest, your job as Postmaster General is not to serve your own profit schemes on the taxpayer's dime. You are to serve the United States Postal Service, its workers, and the American people. This impeached president, Mr. DeJoy, you have to realize has a track record of employing crooks who end up in a lot of trouble for their illegal activities, Mr. DeJoy. Rick Gates, Paul Manafort, Mike Flynn, Michael Cohen, Roger Stone, Steve Bannon. With all due respect, you are not in good company right now. So do the right thing and resign. And I thank the Madam Chair for bringing this to our attention. And please, on behalf of the 13th Congressional District, all we want is for our folks to have access to a qualified Postmaster General that understands the importance of medication, understands that the workers need protection at the workplace, and that we are going to actually get mail delivered on time. Because what we hear on the streets, Mr. DeJoy, is completely the opposite of what you're saying to us. And you've done so much damage in just short a period of time that you've been there. And I do believe there's a conflict of interest, and you need to understand there are legal consequences to that. Thank you, Madam Chair.